Gardens are for people to grow plants, where the gardener's art may be practiced to produce illustrious vegetables, prize-winning blossoms, or emulate the capability brown landscapes. The creativeness of the gardening art has a timeless appeal that can be experienced by young and old. Here now you will see a garden with all these attributes, one which we hope you will come and share. It's an historical fact that Britain is renowned for its gardens. Over the years, the gardens created have developed a character reflecting the inborn expertise inherent in this country. At Wisley in Surrey, the Royal Horticultural Society run more than 200 acres as a model of horticultural know-how. The public, and of course members of the society, visit these gardens for various reasons. First and foremost, it's a place of great beauty and charm in which to spend a relaxing day out with the family. It must also instill in many the desire to return home and emulate what they've seen. This is exactly what the Council of the Society would wish to happen. A basic function of Wisley is to demonstrate, prove and advise. With the changing pattern of our lives, there's the need to review our surroundings and to modify our gardening objectives. Even today, new plants are still being found and brought back from faraway, inaccessible places. These, with new introductions from plant hybridizers, plus the wealth of labor-saving aids at our disposal, should enable us to have a garden that is a true living room, a place for leisure, to sit, eat, and drink in the air and perfumes of an English summer's day. The long mixed border, with its herbaceous plants and shrubs, is at its peak in the summer and serves to illustrate the grand style of gardening. The favorite plant in any garden is surely the rose. In graceful informality or forming a never-ending pattern of color on the ground. The keen rosarian will note that here the roses bloom to perfection under the ever-watchful eye of the Wisley staff and society members. Visitors to Wisley are able to observe the continuous program of care and attention that goes into the grooming of a garden, as you see in the shadow of the Society's beautiful offices. Almost akin to the layout of the formal flower beds is the controlled symmetry of the fruit plantation. Strawberries, gooseberries, apples, pears, plums, currants, and even dwarf peaches. They all show their capabilities. In this model fruit garden, one can decide whether a cordon, bush or espalier would be right for that budding plantation at home, as well as observing the cropping potential of Granny Smith. For many people, no garden is complete without water, with the wildlife and the tranquility that it brings. The subtle control of nature rewards with a perfect picture. The gardener's art goes on under cover too, and here in the superb glass houses, the exotic plants sent from faraway places present a dazzling array of colour and all manner of shapes and sizes. Amongst the plants featured in the show houses can be seen the relatives of our own house plants, perhaps a trifle more robust in these carefully controlled atmospheres. These small greenhouses demonstrate what can be achieved using some automation, as in this mist propagation unit and sub-irrigation bench. The ailments of the garden keep the experts busy. Here in the laboratory, pests, diseases, soil problems and plants for identification all arrive in odd packages and parcels from society members and the general public seeking guidance from the advisory staff.
To make cuttings, we either take a part of the plant from above ground.
Throughout the year, demonstrations are held where members can learn the correct techniques and appreciate that gardening is a science as well as an art.
One of the problems we face is keeping the cutting alive in that interim period. The vine may either be propagated from a length of stem showing 3 buds or by single bud cuttings. These are taken in midwinter whilst the plants are dormant. In Streptocarpus, we have a plant which can be propagated from leaves or sections of leaves. It has the ability to form both roots and growth buds on the wounded tissue.
A feature at Wisley of keen interest to the plantsman and eventually benefiting the home gardener is the floral trials area. Here, trials of flowers and also vegetables are carried out and judged by specialist committees to evaluate new introductions and, of course, to give fellows and visitors the opportunity of comparing and selecting for their own gardens. Conifers, with their varied shapes, leaf textures and colour, form an important part of any garden. Even the smallest suburban plot has room for a few of the miniatures, which can be relied upon to make an attractive and permanent feature. The Pineatum is a place of quiet, an area in which to relax and take stock of life. Forest-like, it assumes a dimension not possible in the majority of our own gardens. As the seasons change, Wisley is seen as a garden of many moods. Across the lake, the reflections tell us the curtain has not yet fallen. Autumn and winter in the garden, especially at Wisley, bring new colour combinations, new interests. Colour in leaf and flower characterises the heather garden, whilst the conifers in their midst add line and form. As the leaves change, the fruits and berries take on a brighter hue, in contrast to a lowering of the sun and the temperatures too. That glorious tree of the liquid amber has its final colourful fling to reward the autumn visitor. So, leaving the berries to feed hungry birds, we follow the winter scene through the rustle of dying leaves to the rebirth of the precocious flowers of the witch hazel, a delicate flower that would be lost in the riot of summer's colour, but so right to herald a new year. Early visitors to Wisley are greeted with dazzling bursts of crocus as a foretaste of spring. Down in the alpine frame yard, the Wisley craft becomes apparent. These plants, which had been protected from the winter wet, are now selected and cleaned and will be put on show in the unheated greenhouse. Like the crown jewels, the pans of alpines are placed on the staging to glitter and impress those who venture into the alpine house. As if fresh from the mountain snow, the gem-like saxifrage glistens from leaf and flower. There must be many visitors who go away determined to put their own small greenhouses to similar use. A natural adjunct to alpines, yet uncommon as a feature of the English garden, is the alpine meadow. Here, naturalized in the grass, are thousand upon thousand of the rich yellow dwarf daffodils, Narcissus bulbocodium, a miniature from Spain and Portugal. In late February or end March, earnest gardeners defy the cold spring winds to take a lesson in rose pruning. Select the bud, carefully angled cut, and so to return home and follow in the footsteps of the masters. Many people derive considerable enjoyment from the cultivation of their own fresh vegetables, and at Wisley, a model vegetable garden demonstrates how it should be done. As the soil warms, so the pace quickens, and interest is focused on the application of fertilizers, cultivation and sowing to produce those succulent peas and champion beans. One plot 90 feet long by 30 feet wide, properly maintained and cropped, should supply all the vegetable needs for a large family. From the culinary kale to highly colourful cabbages, the vegetable garden can provide for all tastes. Only moments away in growing time, and separated by hedging, is the herb border. Aromatic and colourful, with the soft shades of sage and the dusky fennel. From tranquil pools and the wisteria festooned bridge, the rock garden covers the hillside, with plant portraits at all levels. In spring, nature stages her great show, a foreground of moisture-loving primulas heralding the display. Rocky outcrops and screes, linked by hillside paths, provide homes for both unusual and familiar plants, the common house leeks amongst them. This 100-year-old larch, its height belying its age, is just one of the many treasures. The beautiful hardy orchid of the Pleone species will reward those with sharp eyes. One of the fascinations of Wisley, particularly appreciated with the pace of life today, is the tranquility that the natural order of plants and wildlife brings about. The mood changes, a dazzle of brightness, as camellias proclaim they're tougher than you believed. The brilliant pools of colour of the rhododendrons and azaleas proves an irresistible show to visitors on Battleston Hill in April and May. Informal plantings vie with the trials of hardy hybrid rhododendrons and azaleas for pride of place. These azaleas, forming floral hummocks, are ideal in size for the home garden. Provided with the necessary acid conditions, they give little trouble, rarely bothered by pest or disease. With the ever-changing pattern of colour, the utter peacefulness, a never-ending source of inspiration, one can appreciate the attractions of gardening. Small wonder that more and more people come to Wisley to see and to learn, and more take to gardening for their leisure hours. For it is indeed a garden for all seasons, and for all gardeners.